Welcome back to Best of the Back Roads. One of our subscribers, Jerry, had a request. He saw the box that was on our last video, and we actually hadn't planned to make a video of this, but since Jerry requested it, we're gonna go back, show how we put the box on the back of the Trail125. The materials needed will be the Insta-Crate, which we got from Amazon, a motorcycle cargo net, a reflector, some marking materials, grid paper, M6 bolts, some washers, tape measure, a flashlight to see what you're doing. Oh, and you'll need a drill. I'll put all this in the description. All right, let's get to it.
I went ahead and made a fold so that I have a perfect half. And I like to just have a center fold on anything. That's kind of why I do the grid paper. I'm gonna use my screws here to poke the holes so I can hold the holes that I make steady.
So now these bolts will act just like fasteners and keep the paper right where it needs to be while she makes the other two holes.
All right, so Mike's going to get the drill, and I am going to just measure for a second and kind of come up with my measures and mark those on my sheet. I know I don't want my box to sit right up against this bar. This bar can be problematic, and I want to give just a little inch or half an inch right here to be able to put things down and secure things if I want to do a top load and then have my hooks down in there. So I want to give a little gap there. So from my bar, though, I need to measure out, and the first set of holes, the skinnier set of holes, is 10 inches. So you can kind of see here, that's about 10 inches. So the second set, and I can put that actually on the dot, I guess. So that's 10 inches. The second set is out there about 11 1/4. Maybe a little more than 11 1/4. One notch past 11 1/4.
Yep.
5/16, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to measure out 10 inches. Okay, if I did that, I would be up against the side, and this would be, do it this way. I want this to be about 9.5 inches away from that edge. If I do that, that's where my first set of holes will be, at 9.5 inches. Now I'm going to take some tape and tape this down, and we're going to do just a little bit of YouTube magic here. I'm going to tape this down, and I'm going to drill holes.
So don't drill on the machine, drill somewhere else. This is a reenactment. You drill your holes. That was the fun part. You'll have your templated holes down in there, and then it's just a matter of lining it up.
And so they're actually threaded holes, an M6-1.
M6 bolt. You're looking for an M6 bolt, M6-1 bolt.
-1, yeah. Got a little plastic washer to go with this just to keep things from rattling around. And I start by hand tightening.
Once you get them all finger tight, we're going to go ahead and ratchet them on.
As he's doing this, I wanted to put some kind of felt or foam between the plastic box and the rack to kind of keep my paint job, but Mike mentioned that we might end up with some water problems if we did that. We did the wetness sitting on the paint, and that might be worse. So we don't have anything between our box and the rack.
Anytime you put cloth or something, if it doesn't clean up real easy, it just attracts grit. But there you go.
When you put the template in, you want to make it sure that it's centered both ways so that you don't end up with a crooked box. The box breaks down, so just kind of a little bit loud, but and if I have an oversized load, I can put anything I want on top of that and use the exact same netting that I'm going to use on top of my box anyway to do that. We're actually going to take a second and put in a reflector on the back, and I looked at how the box breaks down, and I have a couple different options of reflectors, and I intended to do 2 of these little bitty guys and then 1 of these in the center. But if I put this in the center this way, it's going to be in the way when I try to break down my box. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm not going to use my little dots. I'm going to set it this way. There's actually a dot in the middle of my plastic box right here. And if I put it, I'm just going to set it that way. If I do this, then when I break this down, the way these little side things fold down, it creates a very small channel. I don't know if you can see that in there. There's a very small channel, but this is going to be able to fit right down in without getting involved, without keeping me out of being able to break down my box entirely.
Hey, so we still have to install the reflector in the back. Let me move the bike around so you guys can see us do it. We'll install this. We're just gonna put it on here. I put it through the hole, and then I am gonna put a washer behind it. Voila. Make sure it's straight up and down, which it is.
So just from using this, and something I've noticed, I like to have a collapsible box. Someone recommended that online, and I love it because I don't have to take the box off in order to put an oversized load on the back of my motorcycle. However, when it's collapsed, it does jingle and make a little bit of a noise, actually quite a bit of a clatter. And so keeping your cargo net down on it while you're driving with it collapsed is going to make a big difference. If you want to drive with it collapsed, or if you have an object on it, that's going to help hold it down. But otherwise, you're going to get, I'll let you hear this a little bit, you're going to get quite a bit of sound there if you don't have some way to secure it.
And there you have it. The crate is mounted, and that brings us up to date on all the accessories on the Trail 125, or all the accessories so far. Thanks so much for tuning in.